Some of the most damaging moments in marriage don't come from fights. They actually come from silence. Expectations you never said out loud. Needs you assumed your partner should just know. Disappointment that quietly erodes without a single argument. And in this episode, we're talking about unspoken expectations, why they create distance even in strong marriages, especially in high-load seasons like parenting and work pressure, and how couples can bring clarity before resentment takes root. Stay with us because the shift most couples miss isn't communication, it's expectation awareness. If you've ever found yourself thinking, why do we keep having the same argument, or why does connection feel harder than it used to, you're not alone. Welcome to Marriage, Intimacy and Healing with Andrew and Lara.
We're a husband and wife team, blending science-based coaching and clinical nervous system insight to help couples understand what's really happening underneath conflict, distance, and emotional shutdown.
I'm Lara. I'm an ICF PCC certified coach and educator.
And I'm Andrew, a licensed physical therapist specializing in body, mind, heart integration with extensive experience helping high-performing individuals navigate stress, communication, and emotional regulation.
Together, we help you recognize the patterns that pull you apart and offer practical, grounded shifts that bring you back into connection. Let's dive into today's episode. On a Saturday morning, for example, by 11 a.m., Andrew and I might start getting irritated at each other. And there is no fight, but it's this thing of, an expectation that I never communicated that I had for the day. For example, I might have wanted a lazy, on like today, snowy day with hot chocolate, cuddles and movies. And Andrew may have wanted to, hypothetically, because it's snowing and it wasn't today, mow the lawn or do a bunch of stuff. So he might be outside and
get a whole lot done.
My nervous system's getting like on fight or flight. What's happening? And suddenly we're in this bad mood with each other. And it's because none of us have actually communicated what our hopes were for the day. So this is real. With parenting, the modern load that many of us are under and the constant problem solving around managing a home, expectations and not speaking them can be causing more conflict than the actual fights itself.
Personally, I find constantly communicating, making plans together about every little thing or every little day is sometimes not only laborious, but I feel like I don't want to keep making a plan and making sure we're on the same page to feel like we're wrestling some fight, some thing together. I want to just sort of read off each other and just say, hey, I know how we work together. So sometimes it can just feel like a bore to like, okay, I've got this plan, I've got this plan, I've got this plan. Whereas you don't realize that that's actually causing this divide and this unmet expectation. So it's finding the quick, easy ways to make that plan together or to communicate together in that deeper way. A friend said to me, we communicate really well, but I find that the level he needs to start communicating and how quick it can be, that's the big thing for him. He was saying how he didn't want to keep making huge plans together. It's almost like they had to plan a kid's outing or something where there's lots that needs to be communicated. It's just a Saturday morning. Ease of this way of communicating and how to pick up each other, how to feed off each other is more powerful.
Resentment often comes not from actual conflict, but from the unmet or unspoken expectations that you have towards each other, like Andrew and I on a Saturday morning. And we have learned that when that's happening, what are you hoping for the day, babe? Like, what were you hoping to do today? And when we get on the same page, quick little light conversation on a Saturday morning, we can actually stop a lot of that resentment before it even begins. But where does it come from? Well, these things that we expect, and these things are often in our body before we even notice them in our mind, which we'll speak more to. But your family of origin, for example, what did they do on a Saturday morning? And I'm talking about not just Saturday mornings. That's just my metaphor to help with this. But gender roles, what you expect to happen on a Saturday morning, maybe growing up, your dad was always out in the yard and the mum was inside. Stress, shortcuts, things like they should just know. Like, we've been married 20 years. Doesn't he know by now what I want to do on a Saturday? Well, no, because it changes.
Yeah, it changes.
It changes.
It changes.
I sometimes feel like, as a woman, far more cryptic for Andrew than the other way around, which is kind of funny because I think it's not entirely true, but it's definitely the kind of reputation for a lot of us anyway as females, isn't it? But your partner isn't failing you, and that's what I want to call out here. They're responding to expectations they were never actually invited to. So it could be that you're just frustrated and they have no idea why. So they're not failing. They're just responding to expectations that they didn't know about. And I think that it sounds funny to say, but it's so frequent.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not always a huge blow up, but reading off each other and that frustration that you might hear. I'm big for reading Lara's cues of frustration things when she's not in a peace mode. I'm set off into
threat response.
Threat response.
There it goes.
Usually, and so that will bring it. So any drift in that closeness and the tension you might feel, or the unease to go with the plans you have, or go with an idea you're going with, or just sensing that in the room is going to set up in your body a threat response, even as small as it is, because we can go into vigilance or withdrawal, and we can either just face it one way or the other. That's the basic threat response, sympathetic nervous system drive towards that threat, fight, flight. And so the body will react in that way. Now, it might not be that you're feeling your blood pressure rising and everything's boiling and you're going crazy, but it might just be little ways that you feel that something's on guard in your chest. You're feeling it in your body. Also, it can just build up through the day. So if you know that there's been this silent tension through the day, and this sort of sense of there's something in the room here, but I just don't know what quite it is, and you can't quite focus on the activities you have. You could be at work and then finding it hard to get into your work and get focused on what you need to be doing and where your mind needs to go. And that could be a region your body is dealing with some of these other emotions and other things that you've been living with, and your body's stored them. And then to actually focus and get on with things, it can be difficult.
So what can we do about it? We just want to give you some simple tools. Well, to start with, one of the things Andrew and I started doing is say, what are your hopes for the weekend? Classic example of this is last weekend. Everything was cancelled the entire weekend because of an ice storm here in Georgia and southern parts of America. And I was like, well, I just look forward to a cozy weekend we're actually doing a course together around all of the stuff that we educate on, and it's beautiful. And I just wanted to tuck into those materials and enjoy that. And Andrew did too, but he also had some other things he wanted to do. I think it was gardening.
So there was an element there of just coming together to get on the same page.
Yeah, and so long story short, we just said, what are your hopes for the weekend?
Yeah, and I liked it because it wasn't this, hey, I feel disappointed and I feel like you're not with me on this, and it wasn't threatening.
It was preemptive. We got there ahead before it happened.
Yeah.
So that's the tool we want to give you. The first thing is to turn assumptions into spoken requests, and it could be an evening, it could be the mornings, it could be anything, but turn them into spoken requests. And when do you do this? Well, you do this when disappointment exists without a clear argument. So if you notice in the room that there is a disappointment, or your spouse is a little bit flat or a bit irritable, that might be a good time to say, hey, what's coming up for you? What am I missing here? What are your hopes for the weekend or tonight or for this time that we have now? And this works because it actually reduces that cognitive load and that nervous system threat, that fight, flight, faint, fawn, freeze that our bodies go into when we feel that tightness and shortness of breath or that stress, that it gets reduced by just that simple question.
I've noticed that Lara is a very much get it done sort of person, and I'm conscious of not wanting to overload her early in the morning. That's when her planning phase is in. So sometimes that's when I can text, or if I'm at work, or I can check in with her about those things, and it's not overburdening for her because it helps her really plan the day and see that I'm thinking about the day and about her.
Do you text in the same house? It's funny because I did text you. I was like, upstairs and you were downstairs.
Well,
And my son was like, "Are you texting Dad when he's just downstairs?" I was like, "Yeah, I am." Because if I go down there, then I'm going to have to deal with some stuff I don't want to deal with.
there's all these people. I don't want to.
So I text if I'm in the same house.
If we have the technology, use it.
Sometimes, I mean, that's not our only form of communication, but that's funny.
And it can be great to then use another tool to then not make a big thing of this, but try and bring light to things that haven't happened as you wanted it to be. So it's simply saying, what were you hoping this week that hasn't happened or that didn't happen? And so that's an easy way and a soft way to bring up something that you're maybe disappointed about, or you're just checking in to think, have we ticked off all the things that are important to us? You validate something for the other person that's really important.
And that works because it actually normalizes expectation sharing before the resentment builds. So, but in sport, it's about the defensive, right? Not the offensive. So the defensive is kind of where we get there at the beginning of the weekend and say, hey, what are your expectations? But the offensive would be, right, what were we hoping for this weekend that didn't happen, so that we can reflect and learn and move forward. And then we're learning and growing together as a couple. Clarity protects connection, and what you're fighting for when you are having conflict in your marriage is actually connection. Most of the time you're trying to move towards each other through all of the noise, or sometimes the silence that can happen because we haven't let the other person know what we actually hope for, mainly because we didn't know ourselves. Maybe we needed to take a beat and think, what do I want this weekend? So what expectation have you been holding silently, and what would it sound like to say it gently to the person that you love? So another way that you can get the support you need is head to andrewandlaura.com, and you can download our free 3-minute BMH reset. It's the body, mind, heart shift. And what that is a quick shift in your nervous system, in your mind, and a heart connection. You can print it, put it on the fridge, and use it this week to help you connect with each other. Hit subscribe and share this with a friend so you don't miss a single episode. They come out Wednesdays, Eastern Standard Time. We are all about restoring marriages and helping you build a life that you love. This is part of Creative Restoration International, our not-for-profit. It's tax deductible. If you love meaningful work like this and getting behind it, head to creativerestorationinternational.com, where you can consider becoming a monthly financial supporter. And we thank you when you do, so that we can keep showing up and helping marriages all around the world. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks for joining us on today's Marriage, Intimacy and Healing. If this episode supported you, we'd love for you to download our free 3-minute BMH marriage reset at andrewandlaura.com. It's the quickest way to shift out of stress and back into connection. And for deeper support and to explore our resources and coaching, you can find everything at andrewandlaura.com.
Before you go, following the show or sharing this episode with another couple really helps more people find this kind of support. And we're so grateful when you do.
We're Andrew and Laura, and we'll see you next week.